Hello and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Faith, and in today's video I'll be showing you how to make this butterfly top. It's a very easy design because it only uses double crochet. So we'll start by making this middle or the rib part, and then we proceed to the wings. I'll be using robin yarn. It's a fingering weight and I'll have to double it, but you can use any DK weight yarn or a size 3 yarn. You'll also need a 3mm crochet hook and darning needle. I'll be using this sewing needle to sew in the ends. You'll also need a pair of scissors. So you'll start by making a slip knot. And then chain 4, 2, 3, 4. So this chain 4 will act as a double crochet and a chain 1. So in the first chain here, place 2 double crochet. So 1, then another one, 2. So this is our foundation row. To proceed to the next row, chain 3, 2, 3, then you turn your work, and on this first stitch where we placed our chain 3, place a double crochet, and then on the next stitch place 2 double crochet. Then the last stitch here, place another 2 more double crochet. So at the end of this second row we have 6 double crochets. So we'll proceed to the third row. So turn your work, keep this first stitch, slip stitch in the second stitch, then slip stitch in the third stitch, chain 3, in the same stitch place double crochet, and then in the second stitch place 2 double crochet. Don't work in these other 2 stitches, just leave them out. Next row we'll need to chain 3, turn our work. In this first stitch place a double crochet, the second stitch place 2 double crochet, and then 2 double crochet in this third stitch. And another 2 double crochet in the last stitch. So we are through with our 4th row. On the 5th row, turn your work, don't chain anything. Skip the first stitch, and the second stitch place slip stitch, and then slip stitch also in the third stitch. So you skip 2 stitches. Chain 3, double crochet in the same stitch, 2 double crochet in the next stitch, and then place 2 double crochet. On the next row, you'll need to chain 3 and then turn your work. On this first stitch, place a double crochet. On the next stitch, place 1 double crochet, and then place 1 double crochet in each of the next 3 stitches. In this last stitch, place 2 double crochet. Like that. Turn your work, slip stitch in this second stitch, slip stitch in the third stitch. So we'll repeat this pattern. Chain 3, double crochet in the same space, or the same stitch, sorry, and then double crochet in the next 2 double crochet in each of the next 4 stitches. Then leave those 2 stitches, don't work on them. So we have 1 2 3 4 clusters of 2 double crochet each, totaling to 8 double crochet. The next row, chain 3, turn your work. In this first stitch, place a double crochet, and then place 1 double crochet in each of the next 6 stitches. So 1 double crochet in each stitch. On this last stitch, place 2 double crochet. So our next row, turn, skip this first stitch, slip stitch in the second stitch, slip stitch in the third stitch. And then chain 3, double crochet in the same stitch, and then 2 double crochet in each stitch, leaving 2 stitches. So double crochet in each of the next 5 stitches. So 2 double crochet in the second stitch, 2 double crochet in the third stitch, 2 double crochet in the fourth stitch, 2 double crochet in this 5th stitch, and then the last 2 double crochet in the 6th stitch, like that. Next row, chain 3, turn your work, place a double crochet in the first stitch, and the double crochet in the next stitch, placing single double crochet or 1 double crochet in each stitch across, and then when you reach the last stitch, you'll place 2 double crochet. So this is how our work is looking like. Now on the next row, you'll chain 1, slip stitch in the second stitch, slip stitch in the third stitch, slip stitch in the fourth stitch, and then chain 3. In the same stitch, place a double crochet, and then you double crochet in the next 6 stitches. So that's 1 placing 2 double crochet in each of the next 6 stitches. So we'll add another 2 double crochets because we skipped 3 here, so we'll skip 3 this other side. So place another 2 double crochet. So you have 8 clusters of 2 double crochets, 16 double crochet. Chain 3, turn your work. First stitch, place a double crochet. Second stitch, place double crochet, and then you double crochet in each stitch, placing 2 at the last here. When you reach the last stitch here, place 2 double crochet. So our increases will end here, and on the next row we'll make a decrease. So turn your work, skip the first stitch, slip stitch in the second stitch, and slip stitch in each stitch until you reach the 8th stitch. So slip stitch in the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and then the 8th stitch. Chain 3. In the same stitch, place a double crochet, and then place 2 double crochet in the next 3 stitches. So you leave also 8 double crochets this side. 7, sorry, not 8, 7. Because we skipped 7 here, we'll skip 7 this other side. In the next row, chain 3, turn. You won't have any increase here, so double crochet in the second stitch and each stitch across. Place the last double crochet here. So this is the end of this middle part. The only thing that is remaining is this tie around the neck at these 2 points. So this is the right side. To do that, for a size small, you'll chain 70 to 80, and you can increase that number according to your taste or the size you're making. So you can increase the number of stitches if you're making for a size medium or large. So just chain 80 and let's meet when you're through. So I'm through with my 80 stitches. What I'll do, I'll just chain 1 and cut my yarn. Then I fasten it. I'm doing this because I'll have to cut this here at the tip. Now I'm through with this side here. What I'll do, I'll make another one on this end. So to do that, chain the number of chains you did on this other side. If you did 80, chain 80. So make a slip knot, and then chain 80. So I've made my 80 chains. What I'll do, I'll insert it here. And to do that, working on this right side, because this is where we did these 80 chains and where we finished off our piece. So you'll take your yarn, and on this first stitch, this chain 3 here, place it at the top stitch, set your hook and make a single crochet like that, and then single crochet in the second stitch, single crochet in the third stitch, then chain 6. After chaining 6, you turn your work and you work coming towards this other side. So on the second stitch, place a single crochet, third stitch, place a single crochet, and single crochet in each stitch down. So when you shall have made your single crochets until this last or the first chain you made here, you'll place a single crochet in this next stitch here at the base. So place a single crochet like that, and then make another chain 6. Turn your work. On the second stitch, place a single crochet and then single crochet in each stitch down. When you're through with this, the last chain, single crochet in this first or the stitch here at the base. So another single crochet in the next stitch, single crochet in this third stitch, and then on this where we did our chain 80, we'll make a single crochet and then a chain 1. So cut your yarn, and then we are through. So the only thing that is remaining here is sewing this loose end inside this body. So we'll do that when you're through with our top. Now let's move to the next step. So we finished off in the right side. Turn your work on the wrong side and skip this from the bottom. Working from the bottom, we'll skip this first, second and the third tips. There are 6 stitches or 6 rows, so you'll skip them. Skip this other, the 7th row, and on this 8th row, on the first stitch here, you'll introduce your yarn. So you'll still work with this black. After that, chain 3 plus 1, and in the same stitch you'll place a double crochet like that. Chain 3, and on this next tip, skip 2 rows. On this, skip this first row. On this second row, you have to place a double crochet. Chain 1 and double crochet in the same stitch. Chain 5, skip the next row. On this other row, the first stitch, place a double crochet, chain 1 and double crochet in the same stitch. You'll need to chain 1 and cut your yarn. But if you're working on this same color, if you want to change any color, you'll have to turn your work, slip stitch in this chain 1 space and continue with the pattern from the next row. But we'll cut our yarn because we want to change it. Tighten it and then turn your work on the right side. Now in this next row, we'll introduce our second color, this white here. So I'll also be using white for this top. Make a slip knot, insert your hook in this chain 1 space, then chain 3. After chaining 3, you'll place 3 more double crochet in the same space. 2, 3, like that. Then chain 1, and in this chain 5 space, place 5 double crochet. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, chain 1. In this chain 1 space here at the middle, place 3 double crochet. Chain 1, 3 double crochet in this chain 3 space. Chain 1 and 4 double crochet in the last chain 1 space. Two, 3, 4. So you completed our first row. On the second row, turn your work, skip the first stitch, and on the second stitch, slip stitch, in the third stitch, then chain 3, double crochet in the same stitch, 2 double crochet in the next stitch, then chain 2. And on this second part here, after the chain 1 spaces or between the chain 1 spaces, place 2 double crochet in each stitch. So 2, 2, and 2. So you'll have 6 double crochet here. Chain 2, skip the chain 1 space, skip the first stitch, and on this second stitch, place 3 double crochet. Chain 2, skip the chain 1 space and place 2 double crochet in each of these 5 stitches. Okay, when you're through, chain 2, and on this, skip the chain 1 on this first stitch, 2 double crochet, the next stitch, and then turn your work. On this row, skip the first stitch, slip stitch in the second stitch, slip stitch in the third stitch, chain 3, double crochet in the same stitch, 2 double crochet in this next stitch. Then chain 2, skip the chain 2 space. On this first stitch, place 2 double crochet, 1 double crochet the next stitch, 2 double crochet the next stitch. So we'll be alternating 1 double crochet and 2 double crochet. One in the next, 2 in the next, 1, 2, 1, 2, then the last stitch, place 1 double crochet, chain 2, skip the space, skip the first chain, 3 double crochet in this stitch, chain 2, repeat this pattern here. So start with 2 double crochets in the first stitch, 1 in the second stitch, 2 in the third stitch, 1 in the fourth stitch, 2 in the fifth stitch, and then 1 in the last stitch. Chain 2, 2 double crochet in this first stitch, you skip the space, and 2 double crochet in the next stitch. So our pattern at this edging or the edges will not change, and this is what you're going to do. When you're coming with this row, you'll skip, you leave the 2 stitches undone, and when you're moving on the next row, you'll turn your work, skip the first stitch, skip the second, slip stitch in the second stitch, slip stitch in the third stitch, then chain 3, double crochet in the same stitch, 2 double crochet in the next stitch, and then chain 2, skip this space. On the first stitch, place 2 double crochet, on the next stitch, place 1 double crochet, and then place 1 double crochet in each stitch until you reach this last stitch. On this last stitch, place 2 double crochet, chain 2, skip the chain space, skip the first stitch, and then 3 double crochet in this middle stitch, chain 2, skip the space. In this first stitch, place 2 double crochet, and then double crochet in each stitch across, placing 2 at this last stitch. The last stitch, place 2 double crochet, then chain 2, skip the space on this first stitch, 2 double crochet. The second stitch also 2 double crochet. Turn your work, skip the first stitch, slip stitch in the second and the third, then chain 3, double crochet, same stitch, 2 double crochet next stitch. Chain 2 and repeat the pattern in the previous row, 2 double crochet in the first stitch and the last stitch. The remaining stitches just place 1 double crochet. When you reach this last stitch, place 2 double crochet. So 1, 2, then chain 2, skip the space, skip the first stitch, 3 double crochet in the second stitch. Then chain 2, skip the space, first stitch, place 2 double crochet and then double crochet in each stitch until you reach the last stitch. On this last stitch, place 2 double crochet. So 1, 2, chain 2, skip the space, first stitch, place 2 double crochet, then 2 double crochet the next stitch. Turn your work, skip the first stitch, slip stitch in the second and the third, chain 3, double crochet, same stitch, 2 double crochet next stitch, chain 2, this first stitch, 2 double crochet, then double crochet in each of these middle stitches, placing 2 at the end. Last stitch, place 2 double crochet. Chain 2, skip the space, skip the first chain, 2 double crochet in this middle stitch, 3, sorry, not 2, 3 double crochet, chain 2, skip the space, first stitch, place 2 double crochet and then double crochet in each stitch, placing 2 at the last one. Then chain 2, skip the space, first stitch, place 2 double crochet, then 2 at the second stitch, chain 1. So if you're continuing with this color, just turn your work, slip stitch in the second stitch, slip stitch in the third stitch, then chain 3 and continue with the pattern. If you're changing colors, you'll have to cut your yarn and then you fasten it. So turn your work, and this next row will change our color and we'll also be shaping now the upper wing and this bottom wing. So we'll skip this, the first and the second stitch. On the third stitch, you'll introduce your yarn. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then double crochet in the same stitch like that. 2 double crochet in the next stitch, 1, 2, chain 2 and continue with our pattern. 2 double crochet in this first stitch, and then double crochet in each stitch, placing 2 at this last one. And this last stitch, place 2 double crochet, then chain 2, and here we'll do it differently. So skip this chain 2 space on this first stitch. That's where we'll place our 3 double crochet. So 1, 2, 3, and then we turn our work. We leave this one until we finish this top part. So turn, skip the first stitch, slip stitch in the second stitch, then chain 3, double crochet in the same stitch, 2 double crochet the next stitch, chain 2, 2 double crochet this first stitch, then double crochet in each stitch, placing 2 at the end. Place 2 at this last one. Then chain 2, 2 double crochet the first stitch, 2 double crochet the second stitch, then turn, slip stitch in the second stitch, slip stitch in the third stitch, chain 3, double crochet same stitch, 2 in the next stitch, then chain 2, skip the space, 2 double crochet this first stitch, and then double crochet in each stitch, placing 2 at this last stitch. Chain 2, skip the space, 2 double crochet the first stitch, and 2 double crochet the next stitch, turn, slip stitch, skip the first, slip stitch in the second, slip stitch in the third, then chain 3, double crochet same stitch, double crochet this second stitch, 2, then chain 2, 2 double crochet on this first stitch, and double crochet in each of these middle stitches, placing 2 at the end. Two at this last stitch, then chain 2, skip the space, 2 double crochet in the first stitch and 2 double crochet the second stitch, then turn, slip stitch in the second stitch, third stitch, then chain 3, double crochet same stitch, 2 double crochet the next stitch, chain 2, 2 double crochet in this first stitch, then double crochet in each stitch, placing 2 at the last one here. In this last stitch, place 2 double crochet, then chain 2, double crochet this first stitch, 2 double crochet this second stitch, turn, skip the first stitch, slip stitch in this second and the third, then chain 3, double crochet same stitch, 2 double crochet in the next stitch, chain 2, and then skip this space. The first stitch, place 2 double crochet and then double crochet in each stitch, placing 2 at the last one. Then chain 2, skip space, 2 double crochet the first stitch, 2 double crochet last stitch or second stitch, turn, slip stitch the first stitch, slip stitch in the second stitch, chain 3, slip stitch in the second and the third stitch, then double crochet same stitch, 2 double crochet this next stitch, chain 2, 2 double crochet the first stitch, then double crochet in each stitch, placing 2 at this last one. Two double crochets this last stitch, then chain 2, 2 double crochets in this first stitch. After making 2 double crochets, chain 2 and then 2 double crochets in the next stitch, like that. So turn your work, slip stitch in the second stitch, slip stitch in this chain 2 space, slip stitch in this first stitch and the second stitch. So we'll insert our tie here for the back part. Slip stitch in this chain 2 space and then slip stitch in this first chain. So from here we're going to do our decreases towards the shoulder. This is how our work looks like, and we're going to make our decreases towards this part. So that's why we didn't place other 4 double crochets here. Now chain 3, continue with your pattern. Don't make any increase here because you're doing our decreases, so just chain 3 and then double crochet in the next stitch, and each stitch until you reach the first stitch in this part. Okay, when you reach this last stitch, you will make 2 double crochet. So 1, 2, then chain 2 and continue 2 double crochets in this first stitch, and then 2 double crochets in the second stitch. Turn, skip the first, slip stitch in the second, slip stitch in the third, chain 3, double crochet same stitch, 2 double crochet next stitch, chain 2, this first stitch place 2 double crochet, and then place 1 double crochet in each stitch, but you'll stop here, leaving 5 stitches. Don't work on these last 5 stitches, just leave them out. So leave 5 stitches, don't work on them. Then turn your work, slip stitch in this, skip the first stitch, slip stitch in the second stitch, slip stitch in the third, fourth, and the 5th stitch. So we've skipped these 5 stitches. We'll start working on the 6th stitch, make a slip stitch, and then chain 3. So double crochet in the next stitch and in each stitch across till you reach the first stitch. When you reach this first stitch, place 2 double crochet. So 1, 2, then chain 2, 2 double crochet in this first stitch and the second stitch. Then turn your work. On this next row, skip the first stitch, slip stitch in the second and the third, chain 3, double crochet same stitch, 2 double crochet the next stitch, then chain 2, 2 double crochet in this first stitch, and double crochet in each stitch, leaving 5 stitches here at the end. So we are here, we've skipped 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stitches. Turn your work, skip the first stitch, slip stitch in this second stitch, and in the next 3 stitches. So that's 5 stitches, slip stitch in the 6 stitch, then chain 3, double crochet in the next stitch, and in each stitch until you reach the first stitch. When you reach this last stitch, place 2 double crochet, chain 2, 2 double crochet in this first stitch, and 2 double crochet in the second stitch. Turn your work, skip the first stitch, slip stitch in this second and third, then chain 3, double crochet in the same stitch, 2 double crochet in the next stitch, chain 2, 2 double crochet in this first stitch, and then double crochet in each stitch, leaving 5 stitches at the end. Leave 5 stitches, then turn your work, slip stitch in the second stitch, and in the next 3 stitches slip stitch in the 6th stitch, chain 3, double crochet in each stitch, placing 2 double crochet in this first stitch. Chain 2, sorry. When you reach this last stitch, place 2 double crochet, then chain 2, 2 double crochet the first stitch, 2 double crochet the second stitch, turn, skip the first, slip stitch in this second stitch, slip stitch in the third stitch, then chain 3, double crochet same stitch, 2 double crochet next stitch, then chain 2, 2 double crochet first stitch, then double crochet in each stitch, leaving 5 stitches. Leave those 5 stitches, don't work in them. Turn your work, skip the first stitch, slip stitch in the second, third, fourth, and fifth. Then here chain 3, double crochet in the next stitch, double crochet in the next 2 stitches. So this last one will only have 4 double crochet, chain 1, place 2 double crochet in the next 2 stitches, like that. Turn your work, chain 3, double crochet in the next stitch, double crochet in the next 2 stitches, and then finish your work here. So you'll chain 1 and then you cut yarn, go through and tighten it. So we are through with this wing. So this is how our butterfly look like. What you're going to do is now we're going to come back on this bottom part. So to do that, we'll start here at this stitch, make a slip knot, skip this middle stitch, and then on this last stitch insert your hook and grab your yarn. Chain 3, place 2 more double crochet in the same stitch. Like that. Chain 2, chain 2, and then you double crochet in each stitch. We won't make any increases here, so 1 double crochet in each stitch. When you reach the last stitch, just place 1 double crochet, chain 2, 2 double crochet in this first stitch, 2 double crochet in the second stitch. Turn your work, skip the first stitch, slip stitch in the second and the third, chain 3, double crochet, same stitch, 2 double crochet next stitch, then chain 2. So from here we'll be having a row, a decrease row. Skip the first stitch. On this second stitch, continue with your double crochets in each stitch across, leaving the last stitch. Don't work on the last stitch. Skip this last stitch, chain 2, and then on this first stitch place 2 double crochets, then 2 double crochets in the next stitch. Turn your work, skip the first stitch. On the second stitch place a slip stitch also in the third stitch, chain 3, double crochet in the same stitch, 2 double crochet in the next stitch. Chain 2, and in this row we're going to have normal rows. We're not going to make any decreases. So in this first stitch place a double crochet and then double crochet in each stitch across. Chain 2 and 2 double crochets in this first stitch, 2 double crochets in the second stitch. Then turn your work. So from this part or from the next row we're going to have a repeat of 2 rows, a decrease row and a constant row. So the next row will be a decrease and then this following row will be a constant row. So just continue with this row repeat, the 2 row repeat pattern until you remain with 1 double crochet in the middle, or 3 double crochets, sorry, until you remain with the constant row of 3 double crochets. I hope you get it. So the next row will be a decrease and then a constant, a decrease and a constant, a decrease and a constant. This is where we've finished off. So you're going to add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 rows. So let's meet at your 10th row where you'll be having 3 double crochets. So here and here will be a pattern repeat of what we've been doing in these edges, so it's not a big deal. So just continue with that and let's meet at your 10th row. We'll turn our work and then skip the first stitch, slip stitch in the second stitch, slip stitch in the third stitch, chain 3, double crochet, same stitch, 2 double crochet next stitch, then chain 2, skip the first stitch, on the second stitch place single crochet, then chain 2, first stitch place 2 double crochet, 2 double crochet next stitch, turn your work, skip the first stitch, slip stitch the second, slip stitch the third, chain 3, double crochet, 2 double crochet next stitch, chain 1, and then skip this double crochet, skip also this chain 2, on this stitch place 2 double crochet, and then another 2 double crochet in this second stitch. Turn, skip the first stitch, slip stitch in this second stitch, slip stitch in the third stitch, slip stitch also in this fourth stitch, then chain 3, double crochet, same stitch, chain 1, 2 crochet in this next stitch, like this. So we're through with this bottom part. You'll chain 1 and cut your yarn. Now we're through with our wing on this side, and the same thing that we've done here is the same thing that we'll do on this opposite side. So this is the right side. What you're remaining with is now the straps here at the top and this edging around the wing.